Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. My name is May. Welcome to DIY by May. Please, if you want to learn how to make this gown, please keep watching. If you are new here, you are welcome. Remember to subscribe, like this video if you are a returning subscriber. Thank you so much. Remember to turn on post notification to get notified whenever I post new videos. Keep watching. So I'll be working with 3 yards of this crepe fabric. Yes, you can work with Ankara, you can work with any fabric of your choice, but this is crepe. Yes, and I'm working with 3 yards. Yeah. So firstly, I'll be folding my fabric in bias form. I want to cut the front and use it to cut the back, but yeah, so after I was done placing all my measurements on this, I found out that if I should cut it, it wasn't going to be enough for the back. Yeah, so just watch and see how I still achieved what I wanted to achieve. Yes. So what I did was to fold my fabric into 2, and I divided the hip into 4, and I added extra 8 inches. Yes, I added extra 7 and 1 inch for seam allowance. That is total of 8 inches. Yes, that is what you're gonna do. So I marked out half inch as the starting line, and from the starting line I'm gonna be measuring the length of the gown. You can see that the gown has a joining which has an effect, a gather effect at the joining part. So what you're gonna do is determine the length of the gown. Then I minused about 13.5 inch, yes, for the down part, and I kept it aside. Then the one that is remaining from the 13.5 inches, after knowing the length of the gown, you add extra half an inch for joining the down part at the down part right there. Then I'll measure the length and connect the lines just as you saw me doing right here. So I'll divide my shoulder into 2 and add half an inch, yes, for the sleeve joining. Then I'll come down, divide my bust into 6 and add 1.5 inches. That is for the armhole measurement. Then I will connect the lines like this. Yes. So the next thing to do is to extend the lines, yes, so that I'll be sure of what I'm doing. Then I'll go down from there to my half length. Then from the half length I'll mark down to the hip line, just like you can see me doing right here, which is 9 inches. From the waist to the hip is 9 inches or 8 inches, depending on what you work with. So after that I will divide the bust into 4. Yeah, so I'm trying to divide it into 4 right here. I'll divide the bust into 4 and I'll place the measurement, add 1 inch for ease, add 1 inch for sewing allowance. Yes, that is what I'm doing right there. So the next thing to do is to place my hip measurements and add the extra 8 inches we earlier did before. Then from the bust I'll connect it to the 18 to the measurements we have there at the hem right there. So once I'm done doing that, I'll connect the lines just like this. So that aside, I'll come to the neckline. Yes, I'm trying to measure whether I have the complete measurement right there, so I still have it. So I'll come to the neckline and I'll place 3.5 inches right there as the width, and the depth is 4 inches, as you can see right there. That is for the front part. I'll connect the lines like this, then come up by 1 inch. If you're doing freehand, it's better you do it this way. Then I'll connect the lines like this. Yeah, so after doing that I'll come down by 1 inch for the slant. Yeah, so I would have done this slant before I measured my armhole, so I'm trying to remeasure my armhole measurement right there. So I'll come down by the measurement for the armhole and connect it like this. It's still the same thing, guys. So I don't know why I'm rushing this video. Oh god, the voiceover is not small thing, no, I'm telling you, no be small thing. So I'm trying to clean out the lines so that you guys will not be confused. Yes. So the next thing to do is to divide the measurement I have there by 2. I'll mark it out and I'll come in by half an inch just right there, and I will connect it just like this, and that is for the front armhole measurement. Yes, I'm connecting it this way. And for the back, yeah, for the back neckline measurement, I'll go down by 1.5 inches and I'll connect the lines like that. Yeah. So I already connected the back one, so I'm cutting out the back neckline, and I'm working in just like this. I'm not cutting off the front armhole, I'm cutting out the back first. Yes, so connect your back first before you cut this out, just like this. Then I'll cut it out, guys. So this is what I have here. So the next thing is to place it on another folded fabric, that is for the back. But before you place it, you will mark out 1 inch for your zipper allowance, so whichever zipper allowance you want to add. Yeah, so I added it before I now placed it from that 1 inch. So I'm trying to get the starting line so that I don't have an uneven Jesus so that I don't have an uneven line. So guys, I will mark out 1 inch, just like you can see me doing right here, and I'll connect the lines together. That is for the zipper allowance. Yeah, so I'll place my center front to at that line, and I will cut. So always secure your fabrics with pins and you then cut. So I am done cutting. I will come to the hem part and I will go up by 2 inches, and I will connect the line like this. I will make a curve, not even a line. Yes, I measured 5 inches inwards, then I connected it to that part, and this is what it is. I'll cut it out. So after I was done cutting it out, I had to slit the zipper part. Yeah, so I'll slit the zipper part. After removing my pins, I'll slit the zipper part, just so you can see me doing right here. So after I was done slitting the zipper part, what I'll do is to separate the front from the back. I'll take out the back aside, and what I will do is to cut out the neckline for the front. Yes, after I was done cutting out the neckline, I will also cut out the armhole part. So after cutting out this part, the next thing to do is to cut out the lower part, which has the gather effect. So how I got the measurement, that is the yardage that I used in cutting it out, was that I measured so before that, let's get into the length. The length, you remember, we minus 13.5 inches, that's 13.5 inches. Then I added extra 1.5 inches, half an inch to join it to the upper part, then 1 inch for the hemming part. Yes, so how I got, and this is folded by 4, you can see right there, it's folded by 4. So I'm trying to use my pin to hold it down. So how I got the yardage was that I
sorry for the breaking transmission. I am so sorry. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly do so. Like this video so that others will get to see it, and subscribe. If you have been watching my videos and you have not subscribed, please kindly do so. Let's keep going. Yeah,
so what I had at the upper part, that part that I was going to join to this gather, to this lower part, what I had there, I times it by 2. That's both for the front and the back. I measured it round, and I got the yardage I'm using for this. So after cutting it, I had to take it aside. So at this point, it's time for joining. So I'm not gonna be cutting facing for this. I'm gonna be using a bias tape to work on the neckline. So what I did was to get the back and the front together. It is time to join them together. So I'm using my pin to hold the zipper allowance, so I'll pin it down. So firstly, I'll join the shoulders together. As you can see, I'll join it together, then I'll use bias tape to run the neckline. So I'll join one side first, and after that I will join it with bias tape. So at this point, I was done doing that. So what I did was this. You can see it. I've already also attached my zipper. Yes, I've already hemmed the sides, as you can see, with half an inch. I've already stitched the sides, I meant to say. So I have already gathered the down part, which has a gather effect. So if you don't know how to use your machine to do that, you kindly use your tip and your thread and needle to gather what you want to gather. So it's time to join the upper part and the lower part together. So what I did was to open up the down part about 1 inch from the zipper allowance, and I will pin this down and I will join them together. Yes, you can see it. So I will make sure I have equal parts, and I'll use my pin to hold it together, and I will go to the sewing machine and join it together. So guys, I am done doing everything that needs to be done except for the rope and for the sleeves. So I'm done joining. I already hemmed the down part with 1 inch, that's half inch. So I'll measure what I have here at the armhole. I'll measure it round. That will help me to cut out the sleeve. Yeah, I'm trying to make this look good. Yeah, if you have excesses, you trim it out. Yeah, once you're done joining. So after cutting it out, so I'll measure the armhole. I'll measure it round. So whatever I have here, that is what I'll be using to cut out the sleeve here. So whatever I have here, yeah, after measuring it round, I'll use it to cut out the sleeve. So you divide it by 2. Yes, so after dividing it by 2, you set it aside and you bring your sleeve part. Then you decide what the length you want your sleeve to be. So I'll fold my fabric into 2 just like this. Yes, I'll cut the front and the back together. You see how I'll do it right now. So the length I'm getting right now is both the front and the back. I think is 30 inches. Then I'm gonna be dividing it by 2. That is 15 inches. Then I will mark it out. I'm trying to manage fabric, that's why I did it this way. So I'll mark out 15 inches. So the length is about 13.5 inches. Then I will use 1.5, that is for the down part, and I will use half an inch for the upper part. That's making it 15 inches. That's to join it to the main fabric half an inch upwards. So what I'll do at that point, I'll come down by 4 inches. Yes, then I'll take my tape and I'll measure 7 inches plus 1 inch for seam allowance. Yes, right there. Then from that part, I'll curve it to the 4 inches, like you can see me doing right here. Yes, so I will measure what I measure as the round sleeve. Yes, I will measure it right there to make sure after dividing it by 2 that I had the same measurements right there. Then I'll connect the lines. It is time to cut this out. So after cutting it out, I will use the same thing to cut the other one. I'll use it as a template to cut the other one. Yeah, so after I was done cutting, this is what I have. So at the down part, it will have an elastic casing. So I'll use half an inch, that's 1 inch, to do that, to create a casing. So I will get another fabric, and I would want, this is for the rope for the waist part. Yes, the rope that will be tied on the waist part. So I want this to be, after joining, I want to have about 1.5 inches. So what I was gonna do is that I'm gonna cut out 4 inches. Then when I fold and use half an inch to join before turning it to the right side, I will have about 1.5 inches. So I'm cutting out 4 inches here. So I will cut out the pieces and join all of them together. So do yours and you will still get the same thing even if you're not joining together. Yeah. So it's time to go work on the sleeve. Yes, yeah. So we're back. So this is what we have here. I've already used my thread and needle to also gather that upper part that will be joined to the sleeve, the part that will be joined to the armhole. So what you're gonna do is to measure, determine your round sleeve. Yes, and you divide it by 2. Whatever you have, you will just add extra 1 inch, or yeah, and so for that. So to cut the elastic, that's why I measured that. The round sleeve is 10, so I cut out 11 inches. You will still cut out excess when you're done gathering. Yes, so what I'm gonna do is to use my pin to run this elastic through the casing. So after I was done doing that, this is what I have here. Yes, so it's time to join it to the armhole. So I'll use my pin and remember to remove 1 inch, that is for your seam allowance. So you start after you mark out 1 inch aside. Yes, so from the 1 inch you start pinning around your sleeve, and you do the same thing to the other side, so that after you join it together. So once you're done doing it, this is what you will have. I've already joined the rope that will be tied to the waist. Yeah, so guys, at this point, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up so others can be able to see this video. Like is very, very necessary. It's not only to watch. Please support me by liking and subscribing to my channel. You can also share. See you on my next video. Bye.